The edit window is divided up into distinct areas, so we're going to talk about those individual areas of the edit window now. The toolbar is this area up here. So this rectangular area at the top of your screen. It contains a lot of the tools and information about where you're at, location of your session. This section over here is called the Edit Mode section, and there are 4 different modes: Shuffle Mode, Spot Mode, Slip Mode, and Grid Mode. These all relate to the placement of your clips in a particular session. So for example, if you're in Slip Mode, Pro Tools will allow you to place, let me just add a track here and create a piece of audio. If you're in Slip Mode, Pro Tools will allow you to drag this piece of audio around to any location, so it's slipping along the timeline. If you select Grid Mode, it will lock to the grid value you have selected. So right now I have 8th note selected. If I selected a whole bar, then it's only going to snap to the beginning of each bar. So that's Grid Mode. The last 2 modes we'll talk about later. The next area that we need to discuss are the side columns. On each side of your edit window, you'll have a side column. So 2 side columns that are visible in the edit window. These contain a variety of different information, including your clips list, your tracks list, and the list of all of the groups that you may have inside of your session. And these can be minimized or made visible relatively easily as well. So these are the side columns. You also have pop-up menus associated with each list in the side columns that give you a variety of menu choices from which to choose. So this would be the clips list pop-up menu, the tracks list pop-up menu, and the groups pop-up menu. As I just mentioned, you can also minimize your side columns by clicking on this arrow button on either side, and then clicking on that arrow again to show your particular side column. You can also make a side column disappear by double-clicking right on this dividing line. So if I double-click on that line, it makes the side column disappear. So that's 2 ways to alter your side columns. You can also drag your side columns to make them wider or more narrow by, again, using the double-pointed cursor by placing your mouse right on this dividing line, and then clicking and dragging. The next section that we want to discuss are the edit tools contained in the edit toolbar, and that section is right here. The edit tools in Pro Tools are tools that enable you to select, move, trim, or otherwise modify clips inside of Pro Tools. We'll talk about the functionality of each of these tools a little bit later in our Edit Tool Functions section in this lesson. The ruler views is the section right below the Edit toolbar right here. There are 2 types of rulers that we use in Pro Tools. They are the time-based rulers or the conductor rulers. If you click right over here, you can see all of the rulers that are available, and you can turn them on or off as you need. So everything above this line right here is a time-based ruler, relates to the time, and down here are the conductor rulers, and they relate more to the musical items. So tempo, key signature, meter, and then markers to perhaps mark, say, your intro, verse, chorus, bridge of your song. The rulers are displayed horizontally here along the timeline, and they're right above the area where all your tracks and your clips are kept. You can also customize your toolbar, move any of these items around to any location that you choose. You can do that by holding down the Command modifier key on your keyboard, and you'll see you'll get that grab tool, and then click and grab, and you can see you can move any particular item to any other location. So you can move these individual items around anywhere you want within the toolbar. Again, that's by using the Command modifier key on a Mac, Control on a PC, and clicking and grabbing and moving. So that's how you modify your toolbar. Each of these other sections have individual names as well. You know that these are the edit modes, the edit tools. These are the zoom controls right here. This is our transport. And our MIDI controls are contained right over here. So that's a brief overview of the rulers and the edit toolbar. The mix window, as its name suggests, is a window that you'll use mainly when you're mixing or finishing a project. So let's look at some of the components contained in the mix window. You can get to the mix window by going up to the window menu and choosing mix. Also, you can see that there is a shortcut, the command modifier key and the equals sign. So if I press that, command and equals, it opens the mix window. You can see here that I've got 3 tracks right now. I've got a click track, I've got my vocal input track so that I can speak to you and record the audio, and I have a mono track here as well. It's important to realize that the information contained on the mix window is also the same information displayed on the edit window. It's just you're looking at it in a different view. In the mix window, we don't have the option of seeing it along the linear timeline or horizontal timeline like we do here. We have a traditional analog console view, oftentimes calling this an actual channel strip, and it resembles a channel strip in a traditional analog console. So let's look at some of the elements that are contained from the top to the bottom in each channel strip. First thing you'll come to is an insert. An insert, you remember from Music 1400, is a plugin or some type of effect that affects the entire signal. So EQ, compression, delays, those types of things we could place on a track here in our channel strip as an insert. Pro Tools provides 10 locations to add inserts for each track. Right now you can see there are only 5 available, A through E. And so if we want to change how we're viewing our mix window, we can go up to the View drop-down menu, Mix Window Views, and display those additional inserts. Now you can see all 10 inserts. And on this track, we could add a variety of plugins as an insert. So we could add maybe some compression in EQ. Maybe we wanted to add a separate compressor, so dynamics, and add something like this. Maybe we wanted to add a delay. So you can add a variety of effects as inserts in these locations. The next item we'll come to in our channel strip is a send. A send allows us to send a portion of our signal to a different location. So I could, for example, set up a send real quick and send part of my voice to a reverb unit. So let's go ahead and do that real quick and show you how that can be utilized. Okay, so I've added a reverb unit here. And what I'm going to do is send some of my vocal to that reverb. So I'm going to click on the send, choose a bus 1 and 2. So it's sending to bus 1 and 2, and I'm going to set up my reverb track to receive on bus 1 and 2. And now, when I raise the fader on this particular bus, you can see that it's sending some of my vocal to the reverb unit, and I can control how much of my vocal is being sent to that reverb unit by changing this fader right here. So that's what sends for. So you also have 10 sends that are available. Right now we only see 5. We can again go to the View drop-down menu and display all 10 sends that are available for each channel strip in Pro Tools. So 10 inserts, 10 sends, divided into banks of 5. I'm going to hide these just to unclutter my screen a little bit. Now we only see 5 of each. So that's how you might set up a send to create a certain effect for your track. The next item in our channel strip here is our input-output section. This is where we tell Pro Tools where we want our audio to be received and or sent. So right now you can see I'm receiving from input 12, and I know that that happens to be the location where I've plugged in my microphone. So if we wanted in this case to record onto this audio track, we could set our inputs to receive also on channel 12. And now we're ready to receive audio on this track. All we'd have to do is press the record enable button, and you can see I'm receiving signal here. And then all I need to do is actually record like this, and you'll be able to see my voice being recorded. Record like this, and you'll be able to see. Okay, so a fairly simple process. I'm going to deselect that now. Now we can also change where we want Pro Tools to send our audio out as well. Right now I'm sending out both output 1 and 2, which I know is associated with my left and right speaker here in my studio. So I could also change this and maybe select output 1, which should just be the left speaker, or perhaps output 2, which should be just the right speaker. So this is where you can select how you want Pro Tools to output your audio. Below that is your automation mode selector, and this is where you choose which type of mode you would like to have selected for automating a specific item in your track. Below that are the pan controls. These controls control where your audio will appear in the stereo field from left to right. So if I play with the pan knob like this, you can hear the effects as it pans from left to right. So this is where you set where you want your audio to appear in your stereo field. On an audio track, you'll also have record enable buttons, input monitoring mode buttons, which we'll talk about later, a solo button, which allows you to solo whatever is on that track and essentially mutes everything else, and a mute button, which will mute whatever is on a specific track. Below that, you have volume faders, which control the overall volume on a specific track. So you can see if I play around with it, will change the volume of what you're hearing on my voice because I'm reducing or increasing the gain via this volume fader. The mix window also has side columns. You can show or hide those side columns the same way that you can in the edit window, as I'm demonstrating right now. You can also have that disappear by clicking on this line between the side column and the main part of the mix window. Double clicking on that, that will also close your side columns. Over here, you'll get an alternate view of your tracks list. This is the same information that's contained here on the tracks list in your edit window, but it also shows that data here in the mix window. And same with here, you've got your groups listed as well. We'll talk about what groups are at a later time. And you also have your tracks list pop-up menu and your groups list pop-up menu, where you can access a variety of selections and options that might be available for each. Okay, let's go ahead and move on and talk about some of the other windows that are available in Pro Tools.